You are now tuned in to Go Time Dolphins with Charlie Touche and Kadeem Simmons, the Miami Dolphins podcast that's for the fans and by the fans.
Gotta make them lose their mind when it's your time. And it's show time. Going all out when it's go time. Go. I ain't wasting no time. Gotta make them lose their mind when it's show time. Cause it's your time. Lay it on the line when it's go time. Go. Don't waste no time.
It smells like football is back, says Miami Dolphins quarterback Tua Tagovailoa. Although the franchise quarterback did not suit up for the preseason opener, the Dolphins defeated the Tampa Bay Buccaneers in an exhibition game that went down to the wire. Fans are excited to see the aqua and orange between lines again, and why wouldn't they be? Although it's just the first game of the preseason, everyone wants to get a look at what Miami has been cooking up all off-season. Fins up, Fin fans. Now back to Charlie and Kadeem.
So, for those who have kept up to date, basically, with our personal lives, I have a son. He doesn't really like sports. More into video games and stuff like that. But in watching the third preseason game of the season, he watched it with me, and now he's a Dolphins fan. He was celebrating touchdowns, was celebrating how the game went on. So, it's preseason is normally a time when no one really cares. Fans watch it because it's good to have football back, but no one's really going out there. Well, people go out their way to watch it, but it's like, I'll catch the highlights. My son had managed to become a Miami Dolphins fan just through watching the first game of preseason. So we have another one. He's already got a Waddle jersey, so hopefully the Kadeem curse doesn't carry over to him. But
it's the Kadeem curse, bro. The Kadeem curse. It can't carry over to him.
Yeah, but he's my son, so he has the Kadeem in him.
Nah, that's not how it works.
And that's fine. But we now have a new Miami Dolphins fan. But before we delve into the preseason game and all that kind of stuff, Charlie, how are you?
I'm all right, man. You said people don't go out of their way for preseason. I beg to differ, bro. Like, I think people absolutely, like, it's almost they want to have a fix. They need a fix, Kadeem. Like, I need a football fix. And preseason is the football fix. So, yeah, I think, matter of fact, I'm out of town. I couldn't even watch the game live. I had to wait. I had to record it. Then I had to wait till it ended, and then I had to watch it. So I couldn't go along with the game. But now we're not going to advertise for nobody. But I just found out a way where I could watch it live. So I'm going to start watching it live. So people absolutely go out of their way for preseason football. And especially if you have a Miami Dolphins podcast, I think you should be one of those people. So it's Go Time Dolphins, the Miami Dolphins podcast that goes not only across the pond, but across the world. I'm your boy, Charlie Touche. I got my co-host, Kadeem Simmons, with me. It's always for the fans and by the fans. Your favorite podcast. You're about to say something. What's up, man?
Why did you change it? It's like you said, I got my boy. It's like, what? Can't call him my boy? Can't call him my co-host? Like, I thought we'd gone past that. We're now homies again. Day one. This is why we do this. I thought we got there. If we still need to build that relationship, it's all good. I just thought we were there.
Get out of your feelings, bro. Like, I only fixed it because I was going with the script, and that's how a script goes. So I was just going with the script. Like,
but then sometimes you have a design play, and the play breaks down, and you have to perform off script. That's why they say the greatest quarterbacks can perform off script. I thought he was performing off script. I thought like it was all good.
Bro, you going Preston Williams on me right now. Hey, so you caught the game?
I caught the game. What is my son? What did I think? I'll start with the positives. I said it a couple of weeks ago. I said it, during last season. The Dolphins don't really have chunk play. They don't have guys wide open down the field. Yes, it's just preseason, but the amount of passes over like 10 yards, like guys wide open down the field. I was watching it going, this is going to be what it's like throughout the entire season. And I know there will be what we call in the UK negative Nancy's. There'll be negative Nancy's that be like, oh, it's only, you done it against the Bucks, second and third string. But what did the Dolphins play? For me, if Lynn Bowden is getting wide open, then Jalen Waddle and Tyreek Hill were going to get wide open. So it was great to see, wide open passes down the field. It was great to see Miles Gaskin, friend of the podcast, break that massive run. It was great to see some of the rookies, put some film on tape. And two more things. It was great to see Jason Sanders looking like Jason Sanders again, someone who's going to nail every single kick. And yeah, it was great to start preseason off with a win. Mike McDaniel getting his first win as the Miami Dolphins head coach. What did you make of it?
Coach McDaniel still undefeated. That's what I make of it. And it's preseason. And for those who say, oh, it's just preseason. Yeah, it's just preseason, but we have to evaluate what we see on the field. And if Tampa is putting up 400 yards on us and it's on our team, whether it's the first, second, third, or fourth string, they put up 400 yards on us. We put up like 250-ish. And my thing is, we only have 50 yards rushing. Now, I don't care what season it is. Preseason, regular season, postseason, offseason. You got to put up more than 50 yards rushing, bro. Like, it's just preseason. No, it's not just preseason when it comes to stuff like that. Yeah, it's just preseason when it comes to who wins the game. Yeah. It's just preseason when it comes to how many stats did a quarterback have. It's just preseason when it's how many reps did Gesicki play in. It's not just preseason if you can't run the ball at all. It's not. So Skylar Thompson had a 25-yard run. 25 yards. We only have 50 yards rushing. It was like 56. 40 acres in a Hellcat. Myles Gaskin had a 20-yard run. How's your math? You know what I'm saying? So you're telling me we only got a handful of yards after those two runs? You know what I'm saying? So, nah, man, like, I'm going to be real with you. Yes, it's just preseason, but there are some things that you take away. No, it's not full strength. No, it's not live bullets. It's kind of like live bullets, but not really live bullets. But I don't know about this run game. And when I say run game, I'm not here saying, oh, they didn't show me anything, I give up. We're not going to have a running game. I'm not saying that. But I am saying I'm not sure about the running game. Like I wanted to be all in on we're going to be able to run the ball. When was the last time we were able to run the ball? Have you ever seen the Dolphins able to run the ball, Kadeem? I don't even know if you've been around long enough for that. You know
I saw British born Jay Ajayi have some major games.
Right. All right.
That's
that's fair. That's fair.
But the thing is, like, that's probably the last time I saw the Dolphins won the ball, and that was Jay Ajayi in like 2016.
Yeah, and we often the next year after that.
Yeah,
rightfully so. And I like, yo, he's on the clock. His knees are bad. We got to off him. And everybody got mad at Gase, and we beat the bomb. Actually, his knees went. So yeah. So all right. So maybe, and I don't even know you can necessarily call that a running game. Right, I don't think that was a running game. He had some good games where he rushed pretty well, but I don't think that was a running game. Oh, you got to look out for the Dolphins' run game. So I'm not blowing a head gasket. I'm not over here talking about, oh, we can't run the ball. I'm not saying that, but I am saying I am not as excited as I wanted to be when it comes to our run game because it's a scheme. That's all it is. It's a scheme. You should be able to plug in any running back you want in the scheme, and they should be able to perform within the scheme. So to have two runs over 2 plus 20-yard runs and to only end up with 50 yards, I don't like it. So we'll see when it comes to regular season. We'll see what Chase Edmonds does. We'll see what Sony Michel conjures up. I also think friend of the podcast, Myles Gaskin, makes the roster. And I said that a couple weeks ago, and I beat this before the last game. I actually think he does make the roster. And as far as the run game goes, that's all I got right now for that. Well, you have something to say?
Yeah, because Sony Michel had a few carries in this game, and I myself and others were just like, he doesn't look explosive. Like, it must have been like in the third quarter, and they was like, it was even the end of the second, start of the third quarter, and the commentators were saying the Dolphins have negative rushing yards, and the reason I started with the positives is because I didn't want to start with the negatives. Do you know what I mean? I was like, let's try and be positive. But yeah, the negatives, there was no run game, and how easy is it to run the Dolphins? Like, oh my days, like our run defense was non-existent. The amount of missed tackles I saw, the amount of Bucs receivers just being wide open down the field, and it's not like it was Tom Brady and Mike Evans. It was Carl Trask, was it Blaine Gabbert, and a bunch of
Kyle Trask, bro.
Like,
if you can imagine, we've already had his nickname ready to go. I've had his nickname since college, bro, and I don't think you have to fill in the blank. Kyle Trask, come on, man. And so I'm over here watching the game on the phone, like just the refresh. Like, let me see the drive through the phone. I'm not actually watching the live game. I'm like, you gotta be kidding me, Kyle Trask. You know what I'm saying? So I'm not talking about being negative at all. This is just takeaways from the game. So that's what I took away. So that was one of the things. That was the biggest thing that I took away from the game, was the lack of our being able to run. And you would think the scheme would say the opposite, like, oh, at least we're able to run, and we can't trust Skylar Thompson. That's what I thought would be the narrative. But Skylar Thompson looks pretty good. You know what I'm saying? For everyone who says, well, why do you go quarterback in the 7th round? It's hopeful that you can you could strike gold with a 7th round pick. You find a Skylar Thompson. He is, again, gold, and next thing you know, he replaces Teddy Bridgewater. Not this year, but I'm just saying he replaces Teddy Bridgewater, becomes your backup long term, and you don't have to pay a backup $8 million a year. That's a whole position you could put $8 million to now, because you struck gold in the 7th round with a 7th round quarterback. Did he look good enough to be the backup quarterback? I'm not saying that, but he did look pretty promising. Now, did he look good enough to where you can trade him to another team right now? I'm not saying that either, but he did look pretty promising. Like, maybe there's something there. We don't know. So, but that is why you try to take a quarterback in the 7th round. Go ahead. What you got on Skylar Thompson?
There were times where held onto the ball for a bit too long, but I've only watched the game once, haven't watched it back twice. I will do it, over the next few days. I don't remember watching that game back and going, oh my days, he's missed X, Y, and Z. Like the Lynn Bowden touchdown, Lynn Bowden's wide open and he gives it to Lynn Bowden. It's like brilliant, perfect. He escaped the pocket where possible, and he didn't do anything stupid when escaping the pocket. He had one throwaway, which was then an interception, and that's one of those things where he will learn when throwing the ball away. You throw the ball away. When you throw the ball away, it goes to the guy in row Z. It goes to the coach. It goes out the stadium. You don't kind of throw it kind of near the receiver, because it's one of those things. Like the interception was a great interception, and the only thing that stopped it from being an interception was he didn't get his feet dragged in. You mess around and it's an interception. I believe we're like in the 4th quarter as well. So you don't. But again, that's your first, NFL game as an NFL, professional. Those things will come. So Skylar Thompson. Yeah, there's people saying he's number 2 already. Trade away Teddy Bridgewater. Let's let him do anything stupid. Dude, it's one game. Like, let's relax. And I thought we might see Teddy Two Gloves. Mike McDaniel, on Sunday has since come out and said that there's enough tape of Teddy Bridgewater, in the NFL. What we don't know is what we have in Skylar Thompson. So that's basically why Skylar Thompson played the entirety of the game. And if he played the entirety of next game, I'd want to see 2 at some point. But, I'm not going to sit here and cry because,
Skylar Thompson throwing that ball away. First of all, that was an interception.
Oh, yeah, 100%,
Shout
yeah.
out to that DB who made that effort to get that ball. Like, hats off to you, bro. I love football. You're not a Dolphin, but that was a heck of an effort. They should have gave you that pick on effort alone. And I actually thought you got your feet down, but whatever.
So did I.
When you throw the ball away, Skylar Thompson, and I know my co-host has never seen Varsity Blues, so I'm not even going to ask him. That ball has to hit the mascot in the nose. Straight up. Shout out to anybody who's listening and seen Varsity Blues. You feel me? So Moxon, shout out to Moxon. So yeah, man, that ball has to go to infinity and beyond. All right. It don't have to be Tyrod Taylor did that. And a Dolphin got a pick. Do you remember who got that pick on the sideline? Tyrod Taylor threw it away. Oh, you know what? Was that not Javon Holland's first pick?
Let's double. It could be. I can
right,
easily find it.
No, Javon. Oh, we had a giveaway, and we said who was Javon Holland's first interception against. Was it not Tyrod Taylor?
Oh no, yeah, it definitely was. Yeah,
I think that was the pick. And Tyrod Taylor was running out of bounds, and he kind of maybe that was a linebacker. That was a linebacker who caught that. That was Jerome Baker.
Yeah.
Jerome Baker caught that pick.
It was. Javon Holland's first interception, friend of the podcast, is in the end zone where like Tagovailoa throws it and Javon's like, "Thank you very much." So yeah. It was Jerome Baker. Yeah,
Jerome Baker, Bake Show caught that pick, and it was like, "What's going on here?" And then now like, "Oh, that's a pick. That's a pick." And then turns out it was a pick because Tyrod Taylor didn't throw it away good enough. Shout out to his teamwork made the dream work. See how we put that together? And shout out to all the listeners who was pulling their best Josh Katzker impersonation, like it was Jerome Baker. Yeah. He's yelling at us that we couldn't hear y'all, but yeah, we figured it out. Don't worry about it. We got it right. So yeah, man. So when you throw that ball away, you got to throw that ball away. But to end on Skylar Thompson, he did look good. He is a NFL quarterback, and there was a lot of people like, "Oh, this is a waste of a pick." It's not really a waste of a pick because this man is an NFL quarterback. There's 64 NFL quarterbacks. He's not number 64. You know what I'm saying? So we have 3 NFL quarterbacks on our team. 2 of them are starters, and they say if you got 2 quarterbacks, you don't have any. But in this case, we actually have 2 NFL quarterbacks that are starters because Teddy Bridgewater is better than at least 10 other NFL quarterbacks, in my opinion. And we have my quarterback ranking list, and I'll pull that up sometime in the show on my end to tell you where I rank Teddy Bridgewater. But nah, man, Skylar Thompson is going to be a backup in the NFL. Someone's going to pick him up. But yeah, that's the nature of the business.
Yeah. To talk about someone else who had we've gone from having a good game to having an okay game, but it's the last we're going to see of him this year. Trill Williams. Coach has confirmed it's an ACL injury. That's his season done. And I want to get the exact quote up from Mike McDaniel on Trill Williams because it kind of signifies what he means to the team, but also how he's been in camp so far. It's a genuine shame what's happened to him. Given how he looks like he was going to make the team. When it first happened, he got carted off. Mike McDaniel said after the game it was a setback, and I can't find the exact quote, but basically, to paraphrase, Mike McDaniel said that Trill Williams wasn't quite happy with where he was on the depth chart, but he kept on working to basically work himself up the depth chart, and the entire locker room are, basically hurt by this, because Trill Williams, as Mike McDaniel said, was a guy that worked his butt off to make noise in the crowded cornerback room, and I don't think it's outlandish to say that based on his reps in camp and his performance yesterday, he's probably CB4 behind, obviously, Xavier Howard, Byron Jones, and Nick Needham. So, from everyone here at Go Time Dolphins, I'm sure we want to, send our best wishes to Trill Williams, and hopefully he has a speedy recovery.
Behind the scenes, a lot of people don't know a lot of things about Go Time Dolphins and our relationships with certain people. So we have relationships with certain people, certain Dolphin players, certain retired Dolphin players, certain Dolphin personnel. We have friends of the podcast that we don't shout out as friends of the podcast. And Trill Williams, although he's technically kind of not a quote unquote friend of the podcast, he's an associate of the podcast. And there's some things that almost happened with Go Time Dolphins and Trill Williams behind the scenes. And oh man, it hurt me so bad to see this because I kind of know of the kind of person he is. You know what I'm saying? And not only that, I did think I thought he was the third best outside corner on the team. I think he's better than Nick Needham on the outside. I think Nick Needham is better than him on the inside. I think he's leagues above Noah, and I don't think Noah is on Trill Williams' level. And I also think Trill could play safety. That being said, when he made that play that he got hurt on, I literally said the words out loud while I'm watching it. Trill Williams is legit. I said that out loud, audibly. You know what I'm saying? And then he started holding his knee. I was like, man, that sucks. And then you seen the severity of it. And I was hurt for him. I was hurt for a friend of the podcast, Javon Holland, because that's his best friend. I was hurt for a lot of people and some people that are just not even affiliated with just football. That I was just, man, bro, you got this opportunity. You waited your turn. You made the best of your opportunities, unlike some Miami Dolphin players that are complaining. Climbed the depth chart, was going to make this team and change your life financially for who knows how long. It hurt my heart so bad because that's how he got let go of by New Orleans. You know what I'm saying? That's how he ended up being on the Dolphins. So you hate to see it. It's unfortunate. But shout out to Trill Williams, man. Yeah, man. I ain't got nothing else on that.
Yeah, it's just a genuine shame, and hopefully he can come back next year, pick up where he left off. I guess on a more positive note, I say more positive note, it might not be positive. What did you make of Lynn Bowden's performance against the Bucs?
So I think Lynn Bowden is legit too. And I don't think we should move on from Lynn Bowden. I think there's and the rumblings are we're moving on from Lynn Bowden, but that could be just people letting that get out there to see if there's any interest in him. You see what I'm saying? Because if there's no interest in him, then we'll just keep him. I don't know what the Dolphins are thinking right now, but I do think that's an option. Just keep him. So if you just look at the receivers, you got Tyreek Hill, Waddle, Cedric Wilson, Eric Ezekama, Lynn Bowden, and then the sixth person, whether it's Preston Williams, Sherfield, Craig Kraft, whoever, Braylon Sanders, whoever you want to put in that sixth position. That sixth position has to play special teams. I think it's Sherfield, but Lynn Bowden Jr. should make this team. If you're going to replace him with Braylon Sanders, it's because Braylon Sanders is cutting up in practice. Shout out to Braylon Sanders. So Lynn Bowden is a weapon. Is he a wide receiver? Is he a running back? He's a weapon. You know what I'm saying? He fits in the all right, I shouldn't compare these two, but the same way Deebo Samuel does whatever he wants, same way Laviska Shenault can be moved around the field, is the same way Lynn Bowden can be moved around the field as well. Not saying he's on Deebo's level, but he is he should make this roster. Route him up, keep going. Look at that. For everyone listening to the audio version, thinking I'm just making sound effects, we got the video up on YouTube of the route that Lynn Bowden ran to get wide open naked, open, nobody on him, nobody covering him. That's why we call it naked. Just naked in the end zone. Skylar Thompson puts it on the money, and we get on the board. Lynn Bowden is supposed to make the squad. I hope he does. What about you, Kadeem? So you on mute? Yeah. Now I get to tell you that you on mute.
I mute myself because when I first played this video, it was loud. Shout out to King of Finland for, having this clip on his Twitter account. We had King of Finland on a couple of months ago. Excellent dude. Go follow him on social media. He provides these kind of clips. So, yeah, we spoke a couple of episodes ago about Preston Williams, basically demanding, he get more opportunities, and Lynn Bowden basically saying, well, I'm going to work for mine. And it's stuff like this. Before I really delve into this particular clip, for those who saying, well, it's only the Bucs second team, try to do it against Carlton Davis, blah, 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 all that kind of stuff. Go back and watch Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle against the Bucs starters. This is exactly what it looks like. I don't care which Bucs cornerback you put up against Tyreek Hill or Jalen Waddle, it is going to be this exact same result.
I ain't gonna lie, that doesn't equate, but I'll let you ride off with that example, but it really don't equate.
You don't think if this is Tyreek Hill against Carlton Davis?
But it's not. It's Lynn. But we're talking about Lynn Bowden, though. You said, oh, it's Lynn Bowden versus second team, but you said Tyreek Hill and Waddle versus the first team. So what you have to find one that equates with Lynn Bowden versus somebody.
The reason I said it's Hill and Waddle against the first team because we literally saw that in training camp. Like Hill and Waddle just routing them up. Like that's why I literally said in this particular thing. I wouldn't say it if we hadn't seen it on tape this past week, but
I'm just saying.
I understand where you're coming from. I do. But yeah, this is like Lynn Bowden had himself a great game. We kind of spoke beforehand about if Lynn Bowden and Preston Williams go off in preseason, you basically trade them after. But I think Lynn Bowden on kick and punt returns yesterday, on Saturday night, sorry, and then with the touchdown and what he done throughout the game. He might have, solidified his position in the 53-man roster. Having another great game against the Raiders would certainly help. But he done really, really well. That it's the kind of thing you want to see from your receivers or anyone on the roster bubble in preseason. That's what this is for. So yeah, shout out to Lynn Bowden. Had himself a game. Probably the standout wide receiver who played the majority or played any snaps, I guess, on Saturday. What did you make of the offensive line?
O-line?
Yeah.
It's again, there's only so much we can say about the preseason. So I don't have anything on the O-line right now. You know what I'm saying? I don't have anything positive or negative, but as a whole, as a team, we have to have more than 50 rushing yards is what I'm saying. You know what I'm saying? So, and it is preseason. So the preseason film won't get as much as my time as a regular season game. I'll watch a regular season game more than once, but preseason, yeah, you won't get much of my time. O-line we won the game. We only have 50 yards rushing. I didn't see anything too bad when it came to the dropping back with the passes, but what did you make of it?
There was a few times where I think I said it at the top of the episode, Skylar Thompson held on to the ball for a bit too long, but there were times where I can't remember who played right tackle at some points, but it was just like he wasn't basically even there. I know Austin Jackson, I believe, played 11 snaps, and in those 11 snaps, he looked great. Or good to great. I'm not going to say, oh, my days, right tackle definitely fixed. But again, we didn't come out of that game and everyone said, Austin Jackson still isn't it. So I guess that's a positive. I saw Solomon Kinley on the field. I don't remember him getting beat too easily. So I guess that's a positive as well. I believe it's Aaron Kaska from the Same Old Dolphins show. I believe he wasn't too pleased with Lano Coleman and someone else who played opposite Lano Coleman. But like I said, I want to go back and really look at the offensive line. But yeah, In the run game, there was no push. In the pass game, I think they done enough to allow Skylar Thompson to, distribute the ball to the wide receivers. And I guess that's probably going to be enough given, it's the first preseason game.
Bro. Nah, so how about this? Yeah, so I didn't have nothing on the line. It sounded like you finished with the line, right?
Yeah.
What are we gonna do with Jason Sanders, bro? Are we just gonna flip a coin and see what we get? Like, what's going on with Jason Sanders? What Jason Sanders are we gonna get, Kadeem? For everyone listening, matter of fact, we didn't even break it down right. The Miami Dolphins defeat the Tampa Bay Buccaneers 24-26 in the first preseason game. We didn't even really break it down. My bad, my fault. Right? Jason Sanders accounts for 14 of the 26 points, I believe. All right. Hits from 53, 52, 23, and 33. From what I understand, he hasn't missed a kick yet in camp.
I think he missed one.
Okay, so that when was that? Because that should have been recent, I guess. Because
I believe this one he had. I think I can try and find it. I think on one day he went like 3 for 4, and with like a kind of mid to range kick, but like a 52-yarder. It was a Jason Sanders from last year, basically.
Right. So what I got was he hasn't missed one yet, and so if that was fairly recent, apparently he's only missed one kick in camp. Kadeem, what Jason Sanders are we going to get?
I think we're going to get the one from 2 seasons ago. I think what happened last year was he probably felt himself a bit too much, and he's kind of gone back to the basics. And now he's like, okay, you know what? Cool. Like, again, it seems that him and Blake Ferguson, him and Thomas Morstead, there's no snap. I'm sorry, no holding issues, laces, all that kind of stuff. Everything right now seems to be okay. And let's just hope that continues into the regular season. Because he looked money last night, and last season we couldn't say the same about him,
bro. So I said, it's an even year, bet on Jason Sanders. When it's an odd year, stay away from Jason Sanders. For all the diehard GTD fans, Jason Sanders was so good in 2020 that we mentioned him in every episode. We're like, yo, Jason Sanders keeps saving us so much that we're going to shout him out on every single episode from now on. Like, we would never, for that season, we won't have an episode that season where we did not mention Jason Sanders. So we mentioned him in every episode. 21 came up, and you guys seen the Jason Sanders that we got. It's 22 now. So even if we go back, let's go back a little bit. Jason Sanders in 2019, everybody's like, yo, it's time to move on from him. 2020, he comes back and delivers, and Brian Flores says, this is why you stick with your guys. And in the team huddle, everyone's in the locker room, and he said, Jason Sanders, come here. This is why you stick with your guys, right? So I got Jason Sanders stats pulled up. 2018, he was 18 for 20. 18 for 20. 2020, he was 36 for 39, should have made the Pro Bowl. And now it's 2022. All the even years, right? Let's go to the odd years of Jason Sanders. 2019, he was 23 for 30. 2021, he was 23 for 31. It's 2022. Bank on Jason Sanders. That's what I say.
Yeah, I think, and let me double check this. I think he's the first NFL kicker to nail 2 50-yard plus field goals in a preseason game. Something dumb like that. It's just like, again, it would have been great to see that last year. But if you worked out why he's back to his best, then I can't really complain, because it looks like he's going to have a good season. Yeah, went 4 for 4 last night, or Saturday night, I can say last night. His longest was 53, and even then it wasn't like, oh, it's close. It was, he nailed it from 33, 52, and 53. and he probably could have gone a bit further if need be. So, Jason Sanders, listen, I'm not a fantasy guy. We all know that. But if I were drafting a kicker, I probably would go with Jason Sanders this year. Just saying.
Kadeem, since we're talking about people who hit from 50 and the first person to hit from 50 to do this XYZ times, it's go time Dolphins, but I have to mention this. Buffalo Bills punter.
Oh, my days.
Matt Ariza. And there's a reason I did not put him on Touche's 24. He was initially on Touche's 24, and I took him off because he was getting too much buzz. People started finding out who he was, and he was no longer under the radar. Touche's 24 is for college prospects that are under the radar or people who they may not be being talked about enough, right? Ariza got too much publicity, and I had to take him off the list. I'm like, bro, I can't get credit for putting you on this list because everybody kind of know about you now. He was the second punter ever in college football to punt over 80 yards in one game and hit a 50-yard field goal in the same game. He was the second person to ever do it, and he did it twice in one season. The Bills picked him up in the 6th round. This man just hit a 82-yard punt yesterday or Saturday night. Like,
Dolphins fans were just like, because not to cut you off, but Dolphins fans were legitimately saying, draft this guy. Use a draft pick on this guy.
Straight up.
Dolphins was like that was like, we're gonna face this guy twice a year. You can imagine the Dolphins defense pinning the Bills back and him just going, don't worry, I've got this. Boom, down the field. It's like, what's the point? What is even the point?
But can you imagine? All right, no more tooting these boys' horns. But he was on like his own 20, bro.
Yeah.
I'm done. All right. But yeah, man.
I've
Jason
got
Sanders. Go ahead.
No. It's part of Jason Sanders. So yeah, finish your Jason Sanders point.
No, I was just saying, like, Jason Sanders, I think we got a good we're on the even years, 18, 20, 22. Jason Sanders should be cash money. He will not be in the easy money episode when it comes to bets, though. But go ahead.
So I don't know where and how you watched this game, but did you see the interview with Tua during the game and what he said about being comfortable with the playbook?
Yeah, he said he wasn't comfortable.
Do you think that Tua kind of not quite saying what he meant to say, or do you think it's Tua saying I'm actually not comfortable? Because I think the way the question was asked is like, are you comfortable with the playbook?
I'm gonna just help you out, Kadeem. You got to take it at face value. I think he said it exactly what he meant, and I said this so many times. It takes an entire season to install a playbook, an entire football season to really learn an entire system, one whole season. So when Kirk Cousins came in, announcers like, oh, he just came into Minnesota. It takes about a year to get acclimated to the playbook, right? Every time there's a new offensive coordinator, just calculate it as one whole year a team has to get ready or acclimated to this new system. It's a whole year. He's only had it for a training camp. So does he know the playbook? 100% for sure. But he said, is he comfortable in it? No, we're not comfortable yet. We just got it 2 months ago. You know what I'm saying? Like, let alone a whole season. He wants to be at the level where I know all the checks, all the defenses that someone can call against all the formations that we can run. He doesn't know all the defenses compared to all the formations. He don't have that comfort yet. That's not he did not misspeak. I'm okay with what he said. It is what it is. When you go from OC to OC to OC, this is what happens. So for us, we hope this is the last system he has to learn, and this is the only system he have to run for the rest of his career in a perfect world. So he's not comfortable yet, and he said it right. Like, yo, Imagine it was just not even 4 weeks, about 4 weeks ago, Kadeem, where me and you was talking about how Cedric Wilson came out and said, yo, we just learned this 30 minutes ago, and we're coming into practice right now, asking Tua, what are we supposed to do? And Tua got the answers for us. So if Tua doesn't feel comfortable yet, imagine everybody else. Now, I'll be real with you, they don't have the level of responsibility that Tua does, so they could get comfortable faster, but it's so much. It's a language. It's just like learning a language. It's just like learning an instrument. If you just picked up this instrument 8 weeks ago, you're not going to be as comfortable as you would be 18 months later. So yeah, it takes a whole year to get acclimated to an offensive system.
Yeah, like I saw the tweet, and you know what Dolphins Twitter was like. Dolphins fans is like, here we go again. You know, he's asked, are you comfortable with it? And he's like, I'm not comfortable yet. But if you listen to what Tua and his coaches have said about him, he's a perfectionist. So, like you said, until he knows the entire playbook back to front in his sleep, he's like, so yeah, he knows it, but he's not comfortable, and that's fine. You know, when he was on the Tyreek Hill podcast, and this was even weeks ago, and Hill said he didn't know some of the plays. So he's going to Tua, and Tua has helped him out with the plays. That shows someone who knows the playbook. Apparently, and I couldn't verify this, but I read it, so I want to say this. I could be wrong, who knows? Apparently, you know, Coach McDaniel gave him a test on the playbook, and he got 100%. Cool. So,
how about this? And this is just for, you know, football for dummies, including us. I'm not calling nobody a dummy. Shout out to all our listeners. You are educated enough to be Go Time Dolphin fans, so we rock with y'all. But this is football 101, right? Imagine I'm a wide receiver, an outside wide receiver, not a slot receiver, right, Kadeem? Yeah. Now, not only am I an X, I'm a backup. So I'm a backup to the starter. I'm like the fourth receiver on the roster, right? If I know my routes as the X and I'm the backup, if the Y gets hurt, and I said football 101, this is a little elevated than football 101, my bad. So if the Y gets hurt and I'm the fourth receiver on the roster, I don't even run his routes, but they need a body for that, right? So it is my job to not only know what my routes are, but to know what the Z's routes are, what the Y routes are, what the tight end is going to be doing, because whoever gets hurt, I need to know what's going on. When they call the play in the huddle, I know everyone's route anyway. So as a quarterback, you have to know everyone's route, the O-line's assignment, how to move protection, your responsibility, first read, the checks, all of that, right? If the receivers don't even know their own routes, but the quarterback does, what else do you think the quarterback has on his plate? You see what I'm saying? That's all Tua was saying. I have a lot on my plate. I haven't mastered all of it, but I know it all. Am I comfortable was the question. Not do you know your playbook? Yeah, I know my playbook. I know it for sure. 100%. Am I comfortable with it? Not yet. I want to be able to check out all kind of stuff and check into all kind of stuff. So nah, man, bro, had you not brought that up on the podcast, it would have not even dawned on me that he said he was uncomfortable. Like I was comfortable with his answer. You know what I'm saying? Like it was nothing.
And the thing is as well, and people have rightfully said on social media, if this dude's not comfortable with this playbook, but he just cooked the box in training camp, again, what's the issue? It's not like during training camp, it's like, you know what? Tua and the Dolphins don't look like they're ready. That is going to be an issue. No one was saying that. Even the Bucs were saying this offense looks good. So again, I thought I'd bring it up because it was a topic of conversation. And yeah, I guess it's probably worth talking about, given how Noah performed against the Bucs, not only in training camp but the game, and now with Trill Williams out. The Dolphins now have what I believe another hole on the team, and that's at corner, and that's something we didn't even want to have.
Did I say that, or did I say that, Kadeem?
Yeah,
I said we were top heavy, bro.
So where do you think the Dolphins should go at corner? There's a list that's circulating on social media. I'll try my best to find it very, very quickly. But it's got guys like Xavier Rhodes, DeAndre Baker, Joe Hayden, and a few other guys who are free agents at the moment who you can bring in. Is there anyone off the top of your head who you think the Dolphins should bring in? And, what do the Dolphins do about corner, I guess?
Here's my thing. If the Dolphins were not going to bring one of those guys in already, they should not bring them in now. That's my opinion. If they were, I am of the belief that they should have already been bringing somebody in. You see what I'm saying? Because I didn't think we were deep enough, and I thought they should already bring somebody in. So if they weren't, then this shouldn't change it, because Trill Williams isn't a 1, 2, or a 3. He's just on the back end of the roster. If the logistics of it just says everyone just got bumped up 1. See what I'm saying? So if Noah was not going to make the roster, he makes the roster now. If Verone McKinley wasn't going to make the roster, he makes the roster now. Everyone should get bumped up 1. If they were of the belief that Trill Williams was going to make this roster and they weren't going to bring anyone in. Again, I am of the belief you should go get corner help. I do like Rhodes' clothes, by the way. Xavier Rhodes. Joe Hayden may have some years on him. I don't know how much mileage he got left on the tires. Experience goes a long way. I probably trust Joe Hayden more than I trust anybody else in the secondary when it comes to backups. So, and then the price. What are we talking about? How much are these boys asking? Are they free agents because they're over outbidding themselves? You see what I'm saying? So all that matters. But for me, you should already been trying to get cornerback help. And not a Band-Aid piece. I think we need legit depth and not just temporary depth. Man, it hurts me so much that Trill's out of there.
Yeah, definitely. The guys like Chris Harris, Xavier Rhodes, Joe Hayden, DeAndre Baker's like 25. He was someone when he got cut from wherever he was last. I was like, do you bring him in and just have a look, as is? People kind of saying, well, the Dolphins already have Elijah Campbell, Keon Crossan, but again, it's like you always say, you can never have too many corners. And I don't want to see the Dolphins go, you know what? Trill Williams is out. If need be, let's chuck friend of the podcast, Javon Holland, in that corner. No, don't do that, because he's an elite safety. Keep him at the back end. So, I guess best case scenario, someone, who was on the bubble, on the water bubble, sees this as their opportunity to take the snap that Trill Williams would have had. Like you said, Verone McKinley.
Keon Crossan was a good name you just threw out there too. It's the same thing. And I just don't think the Dolphins go out and how do you replace Trill Williams with someone who's about to make $9 million? Why didn't you do that already if that was the case? So I think they just bump up Keon Crossan or bump up McKinley or bump up Noah. I don't think they replace Trill with big money.
And I think, so very quickly, the thing with Trill Williams as well is that even if he was going to make the roster, realistically, how many snaps was he going to play? He'd probably play quite a few special team snaps. So it's like, if you bring in a corner who is going to be behind Xavier Howard and Byron Jones as is, you're not going to pay $6 million to a Joe Hayden to basically ride the bench. Like it's it's trying to find a good enough corner who can play the odd snap if need be and not cost too much, which is why, like you said, they're probably just going to go, okay, CB4 is now CB3 and kind of just, everyone gets pushed up and I get to finish the point. Hopefully you get Verone McKinley, Keon Crossan goes, you know what, actually, not only am I going to step up because Trill Williams is hurt, I'm going to step up and actually prove to you that I should have been here all along. But that's me in my idealistic world. Like, she's shaking head just like...
Bro, listen, last year, 2021 draft, I mocked 2 corners to the Dolphins, and someone came out, we don't need corners. All right, bro. I wanted Asante Samuel Jr. in the second round. Like, I would have really been happy with Asante Samuel Jr. and Javon Holland. Sure, Give me that all day. We went Eichenberg. Okay, cool. I'm just saying, like, yo, we need corners. But hey, plug this giveaway real quick before we go into bonus time.
So Javon Holland fit to size jersey giveaway. All you have to do is send us your jersey size to gotimedolphins@gmail.com. Nothing more, nothing less, and that automatically enters you into the Javon Holland fit to size jersey giveaway. I literally was thinking beforehand as well. Now that the Dolphins have already played a preseason game, the Madden 23 giveaway, which was predict the Dolphins preseason schedule, results, kind of cheeky, I guess more of a UK term, but to kind of message now with that is a bit cheeky. So stay tuned to the next episode. I will have something for people who may have just missed out to potentially give you a chance. However, it's still going to be a tricky one. So don't think it's like, oh, it's going to be easy. No, because to the people who had already,
submitted.
Yes, already submitted, they should technically get first choice. So, if anything, I might be really generous and do a second Madden 23 giveaway. But the only way to find out would be to tune into the next episode of Go Time Dolphins. So, tune in to next episode of Go Time Dolphins. If Kadeem is really feeling himself, he's going to give away a second copy of Madden 23.
Y'all know what time it is. Stay positive. Test negative. For Kadeem Simmons, I'm Charlie Touche. Thank you for tuning in this time. Make sure you catch us next time on Go Time. Alrighty.
Make them lose their mind when it's your time. And it's show time. Going all out when it's go time. I ain't wasting no time. Gotta make them lose their mind when it's show time. Cause it's your time. Lay it on the line when it's go time. Don't waste no time. Gotta make them lose their mind when it's your time. And it's show time. Going all out when it's go time.
Sticking with the preseason game, the win against the Bucs, was you disappointed with, I guess, how the rookies looked in terms of no one really came out and was like, yeah, this is my time? Or is it more a case of it's the first, preseason game? It's not like we had any first round picks out there and their time will come over the next few weeks.
I wasn't disappointed in the players at all. No, not one player disappointed me. I was more disappointed in the Dolphins overall, meaning, dang, I wish we would have took that punter. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, we needed a punter, and he's going to be there forever now. We're going to have to play him for the next 20 seasons because he's going to be that good. Like, that's what my disappointment was. Like, man, I wish we'd have took that punter. But no, I wasn't disappointed in any of the rookies. Like, what we got? Skylar Thompson, Kansas State, 247th selection in the 7th round. How can you be disappointed in that? You know what I'm saying? Shout out to 5 Yard Lee from Dolphin UK, Miami Dolphin Podcast, the official podcast network. That's what's up. Shout out to 5 Yard Lee again. We can't congratulate y'all boys enough. He was on the last episode and said, hey, how many snaps does Teddy get? Because that's a real question. Like, how much do you play Teddy Bridgewater in the preseason? How much do you play Tua in the preseason? Skylar Thompson might very well come out and play a whole nother game. You know what I'm saying? Tua might come out for a series or two. Teddy might come out for a series or two. And Skylar Thompson might end up playing 3 quarters again. I would not hate it.
Yeah. It's so harsh to kind of like be disappointed in anyone, but one person who stood out for me and not for the right reasons was number 35 cornerback D'Angelo Ross. Dude, the Bucs cooked him over and over and over again. There's a touchdown to the number like 6 or 9. I can't remember the person's name, but it's very much Carl Trask throws it, and at no point does he get his head turned around. And if he gets his head turned around, it's probably interception because the throw isn't that good. And Yeah, over and over again. I was like, who is 35 for them to be cooking him over and over and over again? So I know cuts are going to start soon, and I don't want to be that guy, but I would not be, even with this injury to Trill Williams, I would not be surprised if D'Angelo Ross is one of the first names who doesn't make this roster. Because he was, and the thing is, he's been around the league before. He was an undrafted free agent to the Patriots, I believe, in 2019. Dolphins picked him up start of this year, and yeah, the one. And I also saw the reason I want to go back and watch the offensive line, because I saw quite a few people in the kind of like, stock up, stock down, weren't quite happy with Lano Coleman's performance. So I want to go back and make my own opinion on that. But I think the Dolphins in general have some disappointing moments, and I don't think we learned anything new from this team in that one preseason game. Still need help on offensive line. Still need help at DB. Deadman had a dropped.
He had a fumble.
Fumble, yeah.
Fumble.
Which we recovered. But again,
I ain't gonna lie, that'll get you a ticket out of town real quick.
And I was gonna say, like,
Straight
he
up.
was someone who
he was already on the bus.
Yeah, and when we picked him up, I was like, oh, we literally looked at his return, like, oh, he might be a returner.
Yeah,
fumbling in preseason is one way.
That'll get you cooked, Holmes.
Yeah, and I guess finally for me, outside of, I believe he had the Preston Williams on special teams returns, I don't remember Preston Williams doing anything against the Raiders. But we kind of said enough about Preston Williams.
Hey, I'm huge on posture. Like, what's your posture on a football field? What's your posture in a place of work? What's your posture when you're not having the best day? You know what I'm saying? Body language is important. Preston Williams' body language is not it right now. You know what I'm saying? Like, he'll run a route. If he don't get a pass, his body language says something. I don't need that for my football team. And I don't need that from someone that's on the bubble. You know what I'm saying? I need the Lynn Bowden state of mind. And before we go, I said I was going to pull up my quarterback rankings. And I got my quarterback rankings here. And Teddy Two Gloves is ranked 19th on my list. 19th. In front of Baker Mayfield, I'll take Teddy. Ryan Tannehill, I'll take Teddy. Insert Pittsburgh quarterback here, I'll take Teddy. Tyrod Taylor, I'll take Teddy. McCorkle Jones, I'll take Teddy. Justin Fields, I'll still take Teddy. Fields does look like he may be his arrow's going up. He got a green arrow, but he hasn't shown me enough yet. I'll still take Teddy. Jalen Hurts, Tim Tebow 2.0. I'm taking Teddy. I don't think Jalen Hurts can pass his way back into a game. Zach Wilson, unfortunate that you got hurt, bro, but you play for the Jets. I'll take Teddy. Taylor Heineke, I'll take Teddy. Sam Darnold, I'll take Teddy. Danny Nichols, I'll take Teddy. Jared Goff, I'm taking Teddy. Last but not least, Jimmy Garoppolo. I'm taking Teddy Two Gloves out over all those quarterbacks, bro. I just named, 9? I don't know, 11 quarterbacks that I'll take, Teddy over. And I'm not, and anyone listening, you can hear those names and maybe you disagree a little bit, but it's not a lot, bro. Teddy Bridgewater is one of the 32 best quarterbacks in the NFL. It's Teddy Bridgewater. And I'm not blowing smoke. So yeah, man, you would think if Skylar Thompson could have you know what? Skylar Thompson balls out. You know what? Something about Skylar Thompson game. I thought his scrambling was going to be a little bit better.
Same.
He did have that 25-yard run, and he was a little elusive in the pocket, but I thought it was going to look more natural. I thought he was going to be, oh, this boy got legs. You know what I'm saying? But it wasn't like that. So, but yeah, shout out to Skylar Thompson. Hopefully he becomes something and we could trade him.
Very quickly, do you think the lack of, or like the not so impressive running, it was more just a nerves thing? Like, first NFL, start, I guess, even if it's just preseason, you kind of just think, you're overthinking it, as opposed to, I reckon if he was, guaranteed of a job, at least, it might be a bit more natural. Like, he might take one or two risks. Nothing dumb, But
I don't think so. I think Cam Newton said it the best. And quarterbacks that can run have a stigma. Oh, he runs when he's under pressure. Oh, he doesn't stay in the pocket long enough to make the right throw. Oh, he shouldn't run as much. That's the stigma. And Cam Newton said it so good a long time ago. He said, what? You're like, ask Drew Brees. And he said, ask someone else. But I remember he said Drew Brees. He said, if Drew Brees had my legs, he'll be running too. Right? I'm like, hey, he got a point. You feel? And I'm pretty sure Drew Brees would agree with him. You know what I'm saying? So, nah, man. Skylar Thompson, I think he's straight. He's not terrible. He's not the future, but he's a decent one of the 64 quarterbacks that should be in the league. And I brought something else up because I took a note. Shout out to Aguavon. We used to call him Aguavin. Scoop and score. You know what I'm saying? Darius Hodge had a forced fumble. And last but not least, Kim Bocamper asks Coach McDaniel, first preseason game as a head coach, were you nervous? You know what this man said? He said, I'm not good at anything else in life, and football is the only thing I'm good at, so I felt pretty comfortable in my environment, basically. I like, sign me up, man. I need this coach. You know what I'm saying? I need that. So, yeah, man. It's one preseason game. No reason to over what is it? What do they call it? Overreact. No reason to overreact. We're still going to the playoffs. We're still going to make a Super Bowl push this year. We just got to see some preseason stuff.